Martin O'Neill has just dropped a surprise admission about when he plans to leave Celtic. The Celtic fans collective have called off their boycott, but fan anger is at an absolute breaking point. Plus, Alistair Johnston has been caught liking a hilarious post about O'Neill's touchline fashion, and a former Celtic player has opened up about why he never got a chance at the club. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. A planned boycott of this weekend's home match against Dundee United has been called off by the Celtic fans collective, but make no mistake, the pressure on the club's leadership remains absolutely intense. Supporter groups had been seriously considering a boycott amid widespread frustration at Celtic's boardroom decisions, recruitment strategy, and the way they've been handling fan groups and media access. However, this week's announcement of the departures of Wilfried Nancy and Paul Tisdale led the collective to hold off on that action. Instead, they're seeking dialogue. The organisation has now penned a comprehensive open letter to interim Celtic chairman Brian Wilson, who earlier this week called for unity when Martin O'Neill was appointed. They're urging direct engagement on long-standing supporter concerns. The statement opens with a reminder. Back on the 9th of September, following a calamitous summer transfer window and a fifth Champions League qualification defeat in a row, 420 Celtic supporter organisations, buses, supporters clubs, and fan media outlets signed a joint open letter addressed to the Celtic board. The letter outlined three key areas of concern based around 7 questions. This letter represented the views of tens of thousands of Celtic supporters who wanted greater clarity around the club's footballing strategy and modernisation plans, meaningful accountability for repeated failures, and a significant improvement in how the club engages with and treats its supporters. Following the formation of the Celtic Fans Collective and the commencement of a series of protest actions highlighting the Celtic board's failure to respond to these concerns, a meeting was arranged between representatives of the Celtic support and the executive members of the Celtic board. This meeting yielded no progress in addressing the legitimate concerns of the fan base. In the months that have followed, things have gone from bad to worse on the park. Celtic dispensed with the services of Brendan Rodgers and his coaching team, signing off with a devastating personal attack on Rodgers from the largest minority shareholder. The interim appointment of Martin O'Neill temporarily steadied matters, with on-field results improving. Now for the main story, as Martin O'Neill is already contemplating his departure at Celtic just hours after he was reinstated in the dugout at Parkhead. The 73-year-old served as the interim boss of the boys prior to the arrival of Wilfried Nancy, and he oversaw an extremely successful run of games as the team notched 7 wins out of 8 under his guidance. O'Neill was reinstated as interim Celtic boss following Nancy's dismissal on Monday, as Dermot Desmond and the rest of the board finally decided to end the Frenchman's disastrous reign. The veteran boss will have his eyes fixed firmly on the quest to hunt down Hearts at the top of the Premiership table, but he's already putting plans in place for his exit, just hours after his return was confirmed. O'Neill is held in extremely high regard at Celtic after his trophy-laden spell in charge between 2000 and 2005, and fans quickly took to him once again during his recent interim spell. Supporters have been crying out for him to return to that post during Nancy's struggles, and they've finally got their wish, with Sean Maloney also back alongside the veteran boss as his assistant. The duo will begin their first team duties immediately, with O'Neill having been placed in charge until the end of the season at Parkhead. The former Aston Villa boss did an exclusive interview with TalkSport on Tuesday, during which he was asked by Jim White whether another successful stint would see him continue as Celtic's permanent manager next term. O'Neill was keen to play down that idea and hinted that he has no intention of staying beyond the end of his current assignment. "I can't see that for a start," the new boys boss said during the interview. "I genuinely don't know whether I'd have the energy and all that type of stuff. I'll just put everything into it now for these few months. The same applies to me as it did to Nancy. If I don't win football matches, then I'll be straight under pressure." O'Neill also admitted he will be going all out for January transfers. The quality of Celtic's squad has been heavily criticised in recent weeks, and that's something that O'Neill is desperate to address during the January window. White asked him whether he was keen to bring in new faces to add to the options already at the club, and the Northern Irishman responded with overwhelming clarity. "We have to supplement the squad in some capacity," O'Neill continued. "We have to do that if at all possible. We all know that January windows are difficult. It's difficult to get the players that you want into the football club. We do need to supplement it, and we're going all out to do that." Celtic have already completed the signing of Bournemouth right-back Julian Araujo until the end of the season, and O'Neill clearly has a strong desire to follow that up with several more incomings. He'll need to work with the Celtic board in order to get what he wants, but the level of trust that he carries from the fans could be a crucial factor in the hierarchy sanctioning the deals he wants. In other news, Martin O'Neill's return to the Celtic dugout has caught headlines for obvious footballing reasons, but it's also sparked some unexpected style chatter online. Popular Instagram account Versus, with their 500,000 followers, has declared the 73-year-old boss one of world football's drippiest managers, posting a hilarious breakdown of his no-nonsense old-school touchline look. And Alistair Johnston is clearly on board, dropping a like on the post, which has already racked up thousands of reactions. The post read, "Martin O'Neill back in the dugout means it's time to have some uncomfortable conversations. One of world football's drippiest managers is a 73-year-old from County Derry named Martin. Who else is moving like this? Old school tracky, collar popped, no doubt hiding a string vest and a VVS bust down, OG three-stripe aficionado. Out here proving classics are classics for a reason. Joggers tucked into his socks like he's KD bringing home the chip. Mon the hoops, swagged out in original leather Copa Mundials, tongues up for the boys. The Scottish Premiership just regained an IG moodboard veteran. Remember your umbrellas. Sometimes the drip comes from where you'd least expect it. It's golden stuff, and we can only hope someone shows it to the man himself. Cameras rolling. Although you'd have to explain what drip meant when it came to fashion. As for Johnston, he's still recovering from hamstring surgery and remains sidelined for now, but he's clearly still keeping tabs on all things Celtic, fashion included. It was under Martin O'Neill when he pulled up for the second time this season. The manager had said during his first interim stint that he would be out for a long time, but hopefully he will get to play under the legendary manager again. Martin O'Neill has taken the job until the end of the season, giving Celtic time to find the right manager to take over and lead the club for the next few years. Will he be as drippy as Martin, though? In other news, former Celtic defender Hayato Inamura has opened up about his difficult 6 months at Parkhead, insisting he was never given a proper opportunity to prove himself and admitting he was taken aback by the demands of Scottish football. The 23-year-old Japanese fullback headed back to his homeland this week after Celtic agreed to send him on loan to FC Tokyo. His brief Parkhead spell brought just one senior appearance, which came in a start at left-back in a 3-0 win over Livingston under Brendan Rodgers, who had initially described Inamura as a club signing and was never fully sold on the player. Despite being named in the matchday squad again under Wilfried Nancy in December, he never made it off the bench, a rare opportunity that failed to materialise at either stop in Glasgow. Reflecting on his time in Scotland, Inamura was frank about the challenges he faced. It was difficult in many ways. It was a tough time for me. There are things I can say and things I can't say, but there really was a difference in football ability. I was confident I could reach that level if I could play in the games, but I wasn't given the chance. And I had mental ups and downs. Daisen Maeda told me I could definitely launch my career again if I returned home to Japan, and that encouraged me. He now has an opportunity to rebuild his career on loan in the J-League, hoping that he impresses so that his loan can be made permanent there or elsewhere. 3 managers saw him at Celtic, and none gave him a chance in the side. Rodgers was the only one to field him, but he was forced into that with a lack of options. Lastly, former Rangers striker Chris Boyd has admitted he didn't expect the club to turn back to Martin O'Neill after the sacking of Wilfried Nancy, but he also acknowledged he was surprised Nancy lasted as long as he did given the results, with Celtic enduring one of the worst runs in recent memory with 6 defeats in 8 games under Nancy. Supporters had been calling for decisive action. O'Neill's appointment until the end of the season gives Celtic time to steady the ship while searching for a long-term successor who can truly take the club forward over the next few years. The gaffer has already shown that he can grind out results with this Celtic team, so it really was a no-brainer. And that's all the latest Celtic news for today. The situation at the club is absolutely fascinating right now. We've got Martin O'Neill back in charge but already planning his exit, fans at breaking point but calling off boycotts, and meanwhile Alistair Johnston is out here liking fashion posts about the gaffer's tracksuit game. It's never boring being a Celtic supporter, that's for sure. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more daily Celtic news. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about O'Neill's return and whether the board will actually listen to the fans this time. I'll see you in the next one. Mon the hoops.